Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a couple of fun projects to share with you using some of the new August release with Concord 9th. And I'm going to start with the fun new Blooms for You stamp set. This is a gorgeous floral layering stamp set. There's also several fantastic sentiment choices, which I'll show later. But I'm going to start with a card base. I don't normally start with a card base, but I am today. So I have Neenah Solar White 110-pound white card base. I'm going in with Grapefruit. Of course, I'm going to be using all Concord 9th inks. They stamp like butter. So this is a little border. It's kind of got, well, you see how it just like lines up along the edge of the card? And I just lined it up there, down at the bottom with Grapefruit ink. And what I'm going to do here is rotate my card base, since it's already lined up and it's going to stamp perfectly down on the other end. I'm going to use Grapefruit again. You could clean the stamp and do a different color, but I'm just going to keep it kind of symmetrical, both sides with Grapefruit. And we're going to bring in more color later. You don't have to bring in more color later. If you want to make these cards very simple, quick, and easy, you can just stamp both sides with Grapefruit. Now I'm laying in the part 2 of this layering floral border. I'm stamping it with Sprout, and it kind of fills in all the gaps. It's really only 2 layers. And then there's all these little extra blooms that you can stamp individually if you want to bring in lots of color and die cut them and add them. So like I say, you can make it as colorful and intricate as you want, or you can make it as easy, quick, and simple too. It gives you the option to do both. And it looks beautiful either way. So this is just Sprout and Grapefruit. And if I don't mention the colors that I'm using, everything will be linked in the description box below. But these Concord 9th inks and the stamps stamp like butter. So there's your card base with 2 borders, top and bottom. And now here I have another panel of white cardstock. I believe this is Hammermill, just because whenever I do panels, I use Hammermill. And when I do bases, I do Neenah Solar White 110-pound. I don't know why I do what I do, but it's what I do. Okay, so these are the little individual blooms. I stamped that first big one out of Honeysuckle. I'm going to do that same large one out of Sorbet. So here's where I'm bringing in a lot of variety of color. I'm going to die cut all of these and pop some up onto my existing stamped card base. So this is where you can really customize it. You can zhuzh it, you can make it fancy schmancy, or you can keep it very basic, simple, quick, and easy. You have the option to do either one. I'm just going to pull out all the colors that I had handy. By the way, also Concord 9th is celebrating their 8th birthday. Can you believe 8 years? And they're doing lots of fun giveaways. So you're going to want to check out the blog, check out the Instagram. Just check out all the things that you can check out. And happy birthday, Concord 9th. Man, am I thankful for this company. I just think that they just do it right. I love their style. I love the people behind running the company. Top down, quality people, quality designs. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so all these little images here that I'm stamping have coordinating dies, which I will cut out. And I'm going to lay these. Some are going to get glued flat down. Some are going to get popped up over existing floral images that I already stamped on my card base. You'll see how it all lines up. But if you didn't want to do all what I'm doing, like popping things up over stuff that's already been stamped, you could create your own new little floral arrangement, like stamp all of these images, die cut them, and just make a little cluster on your card. Create your own customized composition is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now I'm just stamping the little centers to the blooms. Again, just pulling out colors. I really didn't know what I was doing. Sometimes I'm thinking, is this going to work out? Because you never really know, you know? It's always a risk. So here are the coordinating Blooms for You dies. I'm using a little Easy C pink tape, taking it off camera, running it through my die cutting machine, and then I'm just going to die cut every one of these little images. How's everybody doing? We are into August. Can you believe it? School is going to be starting soon, and I feel like fall is in the air. Temperatures are starting to drop here in Illinois, and I am so happy about it. Okay, I'm using a little Barely Arts glue and putting just a dab on some of these images. See how I'm laying it over top of the previously stamped thing? So it just kind of lines up. You just line it up like a puzzle piece. Of course, you don't have to put it right over top. If you wanted to add it somewhere else, you could do that as well. There's no rules. You just live your life. Now, some of these are going to get popped up. You know why? Sing it with me. Because dimension is life. But I got to tell you, listen, I am just popping these blooms on a card base. There's no extra panel getting popped up. I feel like for me, this is a victory on reining in that dimension. You get the dimension, but it didn't get out of hand. You can still put it in an envelope and mail it. And I'm working hard on doing that because I actually do want to mail my cards. And sometimes when they get so dang thick and you go to the post office and you can't fit it through the little slide it in thing, and you're like, okay, Laura, rein it in, honey bunny. Rein it in. So this is working for me. I'm excited about this, and using the Barely Arts glue, using my little embellishment wand, popping some of these down, popping some of these up. How's everybody doing? My youngest daughter Emma is going to be starting 8th grade. I can't believe it. And she's just starting her cross-country season. I don't know how people run 2 miles at a race pace. I don't get it. I'll never get it. I mean, I can walk a 2 mile, but I cannot run a 2 mile, especially not at a race pace. But hey, now let's talk sentiments. There are a lot of different choices for this Blooms for You. Here's the You word die cut. I die cut it out of some Aqua Sky, and you can see, I'll hold it up later, but there's little detailing, little viney detailing in the die cut. There's also in the stamp set several different stamps, including a big U. If you want to stamp the U or die cut the word U, there's also a shadow. And I'm going to stamp just the shadow and then use the die cut for the word. So you can mix and match. They kind of coordinate together. So I'm stamping the shadow of the word U with Oceanside ink. I'm going to stamp it twice to make it nice. And this little bit of Oceanside I felt like was a nice contrast to all the floral colors. Now I went ahead and die cut 3 more of the U's out of white cardstock, and I am stacking those up with a little liquid glue. I felt like this was a better option than trying to fit little slivers of foam tape behind, because some of the parts of the letters are very, very thin. And sometimes stacking up word die cuts makes it sturdy and substantial, whereas foam tape, sometimes, if it's intricate, it's so hard to cut teeny slivers. So I'm stacking those up, and I'm gluing those, trying to line it up on that stamped shadow, like so. So you have the stamped shadow, and you have the die cut U, and it looks beautiful together. Now there's a bunch of different sentiment options that you can pair with the U. There's thank you, celebrate you, which is what I'm using here, and there's also I love you. And then there's also a die cut thank. So you could die cut a thank you, or you could stamp a thank you. So there's a lot of different ways you can mix and match this stamp set to get different looks. This card is finished. I didn't add any embellishments. I love that it's almost a 1-layer wonder. Look at all the color. That's card number 1. I'm going to make one more card because I just couldn't help myself. There is some new pattern paper, Harvest Home, in this August release. The back shows all 9 patterns. Beautiful plaids, florals, polka dots in these kind of autumnal yet cheery yet classic patterns. And it was hard for me to pick one, but I just picked kind of a very neutral. There's also a die set, which I wanted to do in this video, but I just ran out of time. You can make little pumpkins with the pattern paper. Okay, this is the Thankful Scripty sayings dies, and they are big and bold, and I love them. Last month they had a very similar die set called the Quintessential Sayings dies, and this one here just has the words thank and you are so kind. So you can mix and match these if you can come up with a lot of different mixy-matchy. Maybe you just want to use the word you and pair it with something else you have. So I just have some strips of solid color cardstock. It's all Concord 9th. They have the most delicious solid color cardstock. What are the colors I have here? Dragonfruit, Sorbet, Lemongrass, and I believe that's artichoke. And then I did go ahead and die cut 2 more out of white cardstock. I'm going to stack them up again just using liquid glue. You could put foam tape behind, but again, I think it's sometimes just easier to just stack them up. These are big, bold, simple. It took no time at all. Did I show? I put pattern paper. I chose one of the, it's kind of like an Aqua Sky check pattern paper. I trimmed it down just a little bit, used tape runner on a white card base, and then I'm stacking up these little word dies. So we have "You Are So Kind," big and bold. Now I'm wondering, I haven't really looked closely enough, but if you have the quintessential word dies and you have these, the thankful Scripty sayings dies, maybe you can come up with even more combinations. I think the quintessential ones have words like hello and friend and there. I don't know if some of the words can work with the "You Are So Kind," but we'll see. Now, kind, like I say many times, has a tittle, and you never want to forget that tittle. So I did die cut 2 white tittles, topping it off with that artichoke tittle. Speaking of artichoke, have you ever had a stuffed artichoke? I won't why, but I had one when I was little. My mom made them. I believe it's a very classic Italian, like with breadcrumbs and garlic and butter, and you stuff it in that artichoke and then you bake it. I've never made one, but I'm wondering how hard it is to do, and can I even find those at the grocery store, and would my family eat them? I'm guessing that they are not cheap. I don't know. Okay, now I went a little bit crazy, debatable with the enamel dots. I have all the colors of the enamel dots here. I love enamel dots lately, and I just did like colors, like I did Dragonfruit enamel dots near the Dragonfruit word die, and so on and so forth. And there you have it, a very simple "You Are So Kind" card on some of that pattern paper with the enamel dots. Make sure and check out the Concord 9th August release. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.